Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Racing Topic Podcast, episode 11. And as you can see, I am joined by quite the number of people today. We have the 315, Parker Gill.
What's up?
We got the 308, the Canadian Open winner for this season, Alex Murphy.
Hey.
We got multiple-time winner this season, Canadian champion last year, Logan Ploder.
Hey, guys.
And we have the Coupe de Montreal winner, I think, on one of the days, and the last Ron Fellows race winner of the season. Same with Mossport of the season, Ari Korkadilus in the 348 for Ari.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, we'll call him the Coupe de Montreal winner if he actually did all the races.
Three-time Coupe de Montreal winner.
Nicely done, brother. So, I guess we'll get right into this. First off, I'm just going to go and say, how do you guys think the season was, even though a couple of us still have one more race to do, which is tomorrow at Goodwood, track race number 15, and that'll about do it for the season, unless anybody does the Enduros. So, yeah.
I guess I'll start. Pretty good season for me. Obviously, I didn't really do as much races as I did last year. I did, as much club racing and obviously Ron Fellows as I could. This year we took a step back and just kind of did Fellows and a handful of club races and obviously CKA at Goodwood. But things went pretty well. Second in the championship for Fellows. Multiple wins at Mika, the ones that I actually did race. So it's been a good season.
Yeah, I think this season was a much bigger improvement than last year for me. I crashed a lot less, but yeah, like I proved a lot. I did all the Ron Fellow races. I went to the CKNA in Newcastle, which was a great learning experience for me. And that put me in the top 6 in the Mika championship. So very happy with that.
Good man. Alex?
I mean, I think we all know I had a bit of a interesting year. We'll call it that. I changed clubs midway through the season after some, let's call it shenanigans. I mean, end of the season was usually good. It kind of, I don't know, that seems to be my staple the last few years is kind of, I start pretty slow and then like all of a sudden at the end it's like, oh yeah, by the way, I can win races. Who knew? Yeah, like you said at the start, won the Open, which wasn't really expecting it because of the great qualifying I had. Ari and me both qualified real well at that one.
Need an Open?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. But I mean, the Open was great. Second half of the season running at Hamilton was a lot of fun. That's about it for me.
Ari?
Yeah, season started off, I mean, not the best, obviously, in a cast, but yeah. This year was just trying to race at different tracks, really get different competition, That's why I went down to Quebec, did a couple of races over there. I also wanted to go down to the States, but I just never had the time to do it, really, because I kind of committed myself to Coupe de Montreal after the first 2 rounds, for sure. Yeah. Beginning of the season was kind of slow, but near the end here, I mean, like I've gotten a lot more wins, so I am really happy. Just a lot stronger pace now. So yeah.
Good man. Good man. So you've also done you started out at, I think in last year it was, you tried out Rock and then you kind of committed more to it this year when you had the chance.
Actually, no, this year was my first year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and even that with a broken finger at the start of the season. So
yeah, that wasn't horrible. Second place.
Taking that up into consideration.
Yeah, making us all look bad. Come on, Ari.
And then Maddox last week, I made us look really bad too.
Yeah. That's another person that we may or may not have on the podcast tonight, Maddox Heacock, depending on if he can make it out. If not, his loss, but whatever. So,
yeah.
So yeah, he'll show up with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, I know, right? We're just about to sign off.
Yeah.
So, I guess we can recap some of the more recent events. So let's go back to the most recent Ron Fellows race. The final race, 7 and 8 at Mossport. Mixed bag that weekend. First day, colder temperatures, but still a real grippy track and quite fast times still. and arguably even more speed on the straightaways. And then the next day, absolutely pissing buckets rain. So what do you guys make of that?
Well, it worked out well for me, sort of.
Yeah, you're welcome on Saturday, dude.
Yeah, no, yeah, thanks for that. And then obviously on Sunday with all the rain and stuff, it was kind of like, a bit more spread out. Obviously, Ari was obviously class of the field, I would say. I thought I maybe had a shot at him, but I've said it many times. My breaks were a little shoddy, but it was still a pretty fun weekend. One day is one thing, Monday is the next thing, and at least when it was raining, there wasn't too much deciding of like what you're gonna do with dry or wet. Like there was a brief moment where you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe it's gonna dry up, and then it was pouring rain again, so that kind of stopped.
Yeah, there was a second there during like the lunch break where it was like, yeah, I mean, I'm in the middle of the field, might throw on dries, why not?
And then
it rained again.
Yeah, so that made it easy, I guess. But
Yeah, for me, definitely the Saturday was a much better weekend, like day, as I was running in the top 10 to start. Like I had a much better pre-final. I had a nice battle of Alec on the last lap, and then final got a good start, and then lost one position, and then had a whole like 10, 12 lap battle with John Luca the entire race. Just the two of us kept going back and forth.
I was watching that from the other side.
Yeah, I just couldn't get by him, and he was not letting me by. Like it was a lot of fun. Like I liked watching, and like it was very fun racing him, but it held us both up a bit, but it was very fun.
Ari?
Yeah. So Saturday wasn't obviously the best day for me. I mean, qualifying wasn't the best. Just didn't have the pace. Like, I mean, me and Gianluca were glued into each other's bumpers, but we just didn't have the pace. We were a couple tenths off, but that's all it took for us to qualify P10 and P11. And then the pre-final just had kind of a scruffy start, just people going sideways into turn 3. Just couldn't get around it, ended up getting collected with them, and then made it back up into P8, I think, where I started. And then in the final, just going to turn 5, somebody from behind didn't use the brakes and just kind of caused everybody to spread apart, lost lead pack, and then that was my race on Saturday. Sunday, it was a much better day, qualified P2. Congrats to Jeremy, by the way. He was actually really quick in qualifying as well. And then the pre-final, I was able to just figure out the line and just able to maximize at the start, to just get into lead and kind of break the initial gap before everybody else caught on. And then, yeah, I just kind of stayed level. And then same thing in the final, just had the right setup on, just got away really good at the start, very consistent. And then, like Logan said, his brakes kind of were going near the end of the race. And I mean, there was already a gap, but yeah, 100%, like it could have been a bit closer, I think, for sure.
Was a good race to watch, I would say, from the stands from where I was standing. The rain races, again, real unpredictable. You never know what can happen and go on. And the Saturday race, well, at least the final, it was pretty much single file through, like, I think it was, how many laps was the final? Like 18, 16 laps.
16,
For about 15 laps of that final. It was pretty much all single file up until the last lap, where things got quite crazy and a lot of shuffling went on. So
Yeah, that was really boring for me being on the tail end of that train. It was kind of like, I could kind of mostly stick to the end of this, but I can't actually do anything. That's how I felt the whole race.
We'd
time
even
bomb.
been touched on. We'd even been touched on before that, where we were watching one of the races from last year with, I think it was, the leaders were, who were they? I know it was Lily Flintoff and Adam Ali drafting up to.
Me, Logan, and Steven.
Yes, that's who
Yes.
it was. And the gap just stayed the same the entire time at about a second. They could never close up. It was just even lap after lap after lap after lap. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that race was also pretty painful because I got by Jeremy and Aiden pretty quick, and then I caught up to Alex, and then like it was almost kind of the same thing as that race you just mentioned, but like it was a lot longer because it was a fellas race. so it
Yeah.
made it even more kind of not boring, but just kind of like, come on, something
Yeah, I know something happened.
kicked off and we caught up. But like, there's so many times where it just felt like a practice session. That's how it is sometimes.
Mhm. I will say as a driver, it's kind of one of the more boring parts of like, you know, if you end up losing the draft like this guy did last weekend at Mossport and just literally being on your own and fourth the whole time, it's just super boring and you just have to drive it until the end, but there's nothing really going on. So
Yeah.
Funny you should mention that actually. I was so tempted to actually wait up for John Luca and start battling with him and Parker. I look beside him like, you know what? Like it was so tempting just to slow down, just start battling. But then I was also looking at the fact that if the front group starts battling, then I might have my
it's a
chance to get into the top
possibility.
three.
Yeah. So
Right?
how many
Honestly,
times has that happened?
Only problem was
lot.
it was a bunch of prime boys and they didn't pass
Yeah.
once.
Well, except for about a lap and a half to go, and that's where it really got going wild with Paxa making the move, just barely able to stick it on the outside of Pryor going up to turn 6, and it ended up shafting Pryor out on the outside from 1st to 7th in half a lap.
One corner.
Yeah, I know, literally, yeah. It just that's how
That was-
quick it can happen, man. In Briggs racing with all these top contenders right with each other. So
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun.
I
Unpredictable.
yeah.
agree with that. So
Yeah, Pryor kind of in that position. He like drove really aggressively with Logan going up to the corner, and then all of a sudden he got really passive, like actually at the corner. So it was a bit weird. Like I got by him when he was because he did that, but I don't know. It was because he was basically driving Paxa into the grass, like trying to force him down into the grass. And then he got to the corner and he was like,
well, he's still there.
I'll just go way out here and everyone can go by.
Teammate, right? I guess you didn't really want to drive a teammate off, but in the end, like,
No.
like you said, cost him 6 spots.
Yeah.
And it was also the fact that Paxa was dirt tracking it there, but he had everybody else behind him. He had
That's the problem.
Barnes behind him, then you, Alex, then Logan, I think Ingrata as well. So
Yeah.
like everybody was just right there, and Pryor had absolutely no help on the outside. So, and then we got to the final corner, and Barnes pulled the outside move in the chicane on Paxa.
That was sick. That was a good move.
Yeah.
So
I complained to David about that a little bit though, because I asked him why he didn't like hit Logan a little bit in the second S so that I could have done something. Like, come on, do me a solid, David.
He made me look bad after what I did in the first race.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
What about the double passer on the outside DSs?
Yeah, something
Yep.
hit a teammate, I think, something like that.
And then cut the corner?
Well, I mean, I have no choice for that.
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I know
I
you're
know.
already out of control and almost
were
stumbling
gone.
over, man. That was the first race of the season, which Ari won, coming from 18th to 1st.
What a guy.
What
Was
a-
there really only 18 people like at the first race?
No,
No,
there
there
was
was
more than that. There was like
25.
25.
Okay.
Yeah, he just started mid-pack, yeah.
I thought you were starting like dead last in that one.
No, I'm not that bad. No, I'm
That was
joking.
also one of the that was one of the better races that we've ever
It was, yeah, it was. There was
You guys
like,
actually battled. That's why
yeah,
I was
the
able to
entire
catch up.
top 10 was right with each other. So
like in the flip, like it was me and Alex were leading for a while, 1 and 2. You know, Steven got in there for a couple laps.
I think there was one moment as well where like Brennan got up to second, and I think we had a bit of a gap, but Brennan wanted to pass for the lead
Yeah.
like right away, and it brought everyone right back in.
yeah,
That's what I was gonna get to. Like you guys had a gap, he passed you, and then Maddox caught up. Then Maddox got by both of you, and then
It
Ari
was-
there.
yeah.
I was actually in a good spot. I thought I threw away the race actually because I was up into P4, and then I forget what happened, but basically Logan was on, or Brennan passed Logan, and then Logan started defending, right? And then Logan was defending, so I kind of stayed on Logan's bumper that way I wouldn't get passed from guys behind, and ended up pushing Logan right beside Brennan to the braking zone.
Yeah, that didn't work out the way I was hoping.
Yeah, and then it was just a
ended up
whole
actually going for a pass.
mess. And then I climbed on the back of you and shot out, and then I was stuck on the outside into the wall.
Yeah.
So that was
I mean,
fun.
there's definitely a lot more opportunities when everyone's passing like all
Yep,
the
I
time.
agree.
Separate the prime
And
guys.
yeah, And I'm sure it's a lot more entertaining for, you know, someone like Chad doing the commentary, of course.
That was, man. That was entertaining as hell.
Because
But he
it's
almost
like,
lost his voice.
yeah,
Yeah,
'Cause
I almost
like,
lost my
that's,
voice in the first race.
like at the open, like that's exactly what happened in the heats. Like first heat, everyone was passing like every corner. So I went 16th to 4th in the first heat. And then
boy.
second heat, no passing at all. So I think I finished 10th. And I think someone got me on the outside of the last corner, if I recall
Aw.
correctly.
Oh,
Some Greek guy,
Aw.
who knows?
Wonder who that was.
Couldn't say. But
man.
yeah, like it's it definitely when people kind of drive very aggressive, they want to pass all the time. It definitely it helps you out a bit if you're trying to make your way through the field. But I think like on the flip side, people race like if you're racing in a more boring fashion, like just pushing, you're probably going to get a better result if
Yeah.
you're up in the front. But it is
All
also
mind.
it is pretty boring to drive that way.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
will
if you're in
agree.
that position, right? I mean, like, let's say you're in second or first and you have the opportunity to just bump shaft and pull away. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? That we have guaranteed first and second place, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Logan was
again, just to like use the
Yeah.
sorry Logan, but like just to use the open as an example again, like Pryor probably could have passed me on the infield in like any of the corners on any of the laps if he wanted to, and it would have brought like Barnes and Grotto, who else was it, Baxter, like right back in on us because we didn't have like that big of a gap. I think you were in there too, Ari.
I was just chasing them down that entire race.
You just couldn't get
So
close
like,
enough.
so like
Oh, I
if
did
Jordan, if
eventually.
yeah, like if Jordan ever had put the move on, then it would have put it like
Opened up a
right
lot
back into
more.
like a 4 or 5 car race at
Yeah.
least
That could
instead
have
of 2.
changed the entire thing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would have. So,
Sure.
well, Parker, I'm going to go over to you now. So I'll wind back the clock a bit to. I'm trying to think of what Mika race it was. It was the one again where, and I will say, a lot of the Mika races this year, you guys dealt with a lot of rain and changing conditions. So, I'll go to the one where it was last lap, and basically the whole race. It was, I think, Navratil and Stephen Navratil, Dylan running leading, and then yourself in third with Chloe Drummond pushing you.
Oh, yeah.
Up to that point.
Yeah, that weekend was a pretty eventful weekend as like Naruto and Dylan were at the top of the charts, and I started 6th in the final and then met up with Chloe and Aiden Shimbashi and eventually took 3rd by like corner 5. And then the 3 of us were just drafting the entire time and started to catch Dylan and Naruto. Where then eventually Chloe took the lead of the train that I was in, and I just continued pushing her all the way. Where I think by the like last lap, we ended up closing like 5 seconds throughout the entire race.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Well,
we ended up closing like 5 seconds to the leaders, where we were right on them coming into 3. Where then Chloe made the move, and I followed her through it, putting me into 3rd. And eventually, I kind of lost the push from Chloe. Like I couldn't push her past Naruto. So I started defending on the last lap, and Dylan went for the pass on the outside in the S's, and we both went like side by side into the braking, and then just a little bit of contact in the second part of the S's sent me into the grass, and as I'm re-entering, me and Shimbashi made a little bit of contact, and that was the race.
Yeah.
Went from 3rd to 5th, but still a great weekend. Like I was on pace. I definitely could have had that, but stuff happens.
yeah, it's racing. So, and I will say this: I did look back at the accident, and I will say it was just straight up racing.
Yeah.
At the end, both you guys going for the last spot in the podium, and it just ended in calamity, unfortunately. And then Aiden unfortunately got caught in the crosshairs afterwards. So,
Yep.
and
then
Nathan Powell
out
came
of
through,
nowhere.
side through and takes the podium away. So,
Nice
Yeah.
all you guys.
oh man, good stuff. Well, oh, Alex is coming back in. I think possible internet problems, but he's back in now. So
Thought he was off to do some more yoga. I'm
Oh,
joking.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah,
Brandon,
I live in the middle of nowhere and my internet is shit. Sorry.
Man.
I'm in the only room in my house that actually has sufficient internet. I probably just
Mhm.
fixed that.
I'm right next to my router, so this is the
Oh.
best it's gonna be.
Yeah, I have the best one here. I have an Ethernet cable. It's like 50 or 60 feet long, or 100, or no, it's 100. It's something crazy, right? I have a duct tape to the floor, and it goes all the way up the stairs into my room from downstairs.
Is that for your iRacing endeavors?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to get some packet loss disconnection or something. It's
I've
happened
had
to
a few of those.
a lot of people.
Pretty infuriating.
You only blink on other people's screens.
Oh, it just boots you out in iRacing. If you blink too much, it just boots you
Yeah,
right
it'll
out.
boot you out. So
I used to have that when I played iRacing years ago, and I had a computer that wasn't up to the standard for like
oh,
the graphics and the like the whole system of the game or whatever. And I remember like you get into a race and everyone else just starts. They would disappear off the screen, and then they would like put me in slow mo, and then they would all return, and then they'd all be crashing, even though like in the regular race they're just driving around. My thing was just going off the rails, and then I get kicked out.
Just a skill issue.
yeah.
I'm joking.
Oh wow!
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Oh man.
I
Oh
just
man.
racing and fake racing. I'll just say that.
I need to get into fake racing, man. I haven't gotten a sim and stuff like that. So I have a capture card and everything for my gaming videos, but I don't have a sim rig and stuff. I mean, okay, it's pretty easy to go to like Walmart or wherever and buy one of those Logitech
Just
shifters and
play on a controller. It's
Yeah,
totally
play on a
it's,
controller.
it's totally the same.
A keyboard and mouse.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh god, that'd be even worse. Oh man.
We tried it. At some
Yeah,
point, all
we
of us have tried it.
Yeah, let's just use the AWSD keys to turn or sorry, the arrow keys to turn, W to shift, A to go, D
Yeah.
to brake. Yeah, that's great, man.
And then on Kartcraft once,
Oh,
didn't feel too
man.
good.
Mouse and keyboard. Oh, jeez. So I'm gonna go to a another race this season, which was quite the crazy one. Mika race number 9, which was the short track one that we were talking about.
Or I
Floater
was
ended
not
up-
at that one.
Yeah, you were not at that one. Ploder ended up taking the checkered flag. I came second in the absolute shenanigans that went on in the last lap. So there was about how many were us? Already like eight, I would say
8
that
of
were
us,
all they were
all
all like
grouped up,
right up in
yeah.
it. So
I don't want to talk about it.
we know what happens. So yeah, again, like I said, shenanigans at the end of the race, and being Mosport short track, last 2 corners are hairpins. So there's bound to be a lot of stuff going on, and that's exactly what happened. So
Yeah, 3-wide wasn't cutting it for most people.
nope.
I love me defending halfway through the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I
The
thought-
the halfway point is the perfect time to start defending. That's why they have flags for it down in the States.
Exactly.
And you know what the thing was though, like, I was kind of me and Chad were first and second. Ari was third. The 3 of us
Yeah.
had a bit of a gap, and I kept looking back, and I saw like every lap Maddox was like a position up. And then
Yeah.
I saw Chad get swallowed up by you guys, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm next.
Yeah.
So I did.
Oh, okay. I just looked it up. This is the one that Aiden suddenly was like, it was like he suddenly knew how to drive, and then he got DQ'd for losing his bumper,
yeah,
which
'cause,
is
like,
such
he
a
went into-
stupid penalty.
He went into regular
Yeah.
like, turn 5, and like,
He tried to follow me through on Brennan
Yeah,
Taylor, and just
and
Yeah,
you can see it
I
on
know, but like I was
at that point
like,
the door closed.
I was watching the race and I congratulated him like right after, and then
Oh, he did so well.
Just like later in
owe
the night,
him-
I look and it's like, oh, DQ for loss of front bumper. Like, what the
Man,
Well, watch your mouth.
hey, easy there, boy. I'm just kidding. I
Yeah,
don't
you
care.
can do post-
I don't care. I don't care. I can censor, but whatever. I don't care. I'm not noticed by the
it's more
algorithm.
than it's more than 5 minutes in, you're fine.
Exactly. Oh man.
Speaking of Aiden, he's actually in the call still.
Mhm. Hey, what up, Aiden? Also, Aiden Shimbashi, another racer on I'm stumbling over my words. Professional Racing Ontario. Also, I owe him a big thank you as well. Yes, good shout out right there with the CL hat on Logan Ploda there. I owe him a big thank you that race for pushing me after I got shuffled out, because we sort of made our way back to the front. right when all the shenanigans started happening. So unfortunately, I made it through and he didn't. So unfortunately, Taylor closed the door, which I actually think he saw me coming, and I think he actually completely got out of the way because he knew I was going to send it. And I did. I really sent it. Ari, I went in so hard, I almost ran into you, man. I
Good.
left that breaking point
It would have been an
so
honor.
late.
It would have been an honor for you to hit me. Bonus if
I-
I flip over the barrier onto the other straight.
Yeah, like another crash that we saw
Well,
earlier.
I
in
actually
that
saw
day.
your
That was
bumper and almost
wild.
steered out. I almost steered out of the corner.
Which isn't good considering on the exit there, you also have the other short shoot and there's
Oh,
that
yeah.
massive curb that you can like launch off of. So,
I know a guy that hit that curb.
oh, jeez.
Hope
Which
that
curb
the
is
guy
that?
isn't me. I don't know what curb you're talking about, but it just sounds like me.
Which curb were you talking about?
So
one
if
out of
you're going,
5.
yeah, the one out of 5, like if you're going the other direction where the mini
Oh,
short
it's not
shoot
that
is,
bad, it?
yeah, it
Logan,
is
you
if
saw me
hit
hit
at high
it the last
speed.
race. You saw what it did to my go-kart after.
Actually, I did.
No,
Oh, I
oh,
broke my
oh, wait,
seat.
you did? Okay. I didn't see it.
What about
I was
the little curb, like the little curb out of turn 6 that serves absolutely zero purpose? I'm pretty sure I hit that this year for the first time, and it's like, why is this here? Like, it just
Yeah, I see
sends
that.
you
Oh,
in,
that one.
sends you
Nobody
in the
touches it.
air.
Nobody touches it.
Oh, I
Well, like
nailed that
it's
thing.
on the outside of the track. What do you?
That's
It's-
the one where you go down the hill out of 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
That's
well,
what
like
we
it's
did
supposed to
last
be.
night.
Hit that. The
Yeah,
buddy was
it's on
like-
the left, Ari, not the right.
Yeah, that's the one that I hit.
Oh, okay. Well,
I saw, yeah, like I
He's
said, I saw
faster.
a live and drive Kurt hit that, and Buddy, because those things are tanks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was
Buddy
actually
hit that,
marshalling
and
for
he
a
went
race and I
like-
saw that. But he flew.
Oh yeah.
hold on. I got another one, boys. How about can we, because well, all of us saw it, I think, except for Alex. Can we please discuss the mechanics race from the final Mika race of the season?
Oh,
And
no.
coming into the chicane on the last corner, Marco Signoretti, I'm not even going to say taking out Jeff Brown. He junked him going through the chicane, did not break at all, slammed into him, dust cloud over the curbs, almost rolled the arrive and drive cart, went back on the ground, cut the final hairpin of the track to get the lead, but was already going so slow because he had to make the turn through there and lost the race anyway. And
Let
even if he
alone
did, he got
his
DQ'd for that.
Didn't he have a
I mean-
pushback?
I don't know. He probably would have with the way he drove it in there with those drive and drive carts.
Oh,
That sounds like Marco.
Yep, that sounds like him.
What a
Oh,
beauty.
man.
Who didn't see that coming though? That was
Oh, we all saw it coming.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you see his start? Sending it forward wide into the first
Yeah,
tier.
he went from last to first on the first lap, man.
Aw.
Oh, that was
I love that guy.
those mechanics races are a treasure to watch, man. It really
They should be
is.
having them at every Mika race.
They should. They should.
There's just
need
gonna
a
be no more Raven
championship
Drive
for
carts
that.
left after.
No, no, that'd be destroyed, man.
Yeah, those things
Uh,
are getting up there in age.
Mhm.
Would be a smart idea if you want to preserve those another year.
Yeah. So
Are
So,
they getting up? I mean, they're only like what, 3 years old? They can't be that old.
No, they can't be. No,
No,
wait.
I think
2020.
sure.
They would have gotten
Yeah,
them in 2020,
2020.
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so
they're
just
third,
about
this is the third year.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
come
third
on.
year.
They run arrive and drive carts at Hamilton for like 25 years. Come on.
yeah, they're all good.
Hey, really?
You know the shit boxes I started in? Like, you couldn't get a straight piece on a cart.
Oh man.
Well, that's what you pay for, right? You pay your. what is it?
Yeah, you get what you pay for. So
Pay for the damage fees. Like that's what
Yeah,
you
that
when you go to
too.
Arrive and Drive. You
But,
pay
like-
for the tire rods at the
like,
first place.
For someone like me who worked at Goodwood for 3 years and then Mosport the last 2 years, and people complain about the cars and stuff, but when you work in the moment, like in the business, I'll say, you pay your $65 and you come to race. That's kind of what you have to expect. Like there's 30 carts in a line, and not everyone's, they're not all going to be.
They're not going to be equal.
No,
yeah.
no,
You
yeah,
don't,
they're
you don't
not
have
gonna be.
enough people to fix the ones that get damaged more than the other ones. Kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So they may say they're equal, but unfortunately they're not.
They're
They
built
might be
equal.
when they're built equal. But then once we get a few races on them and stuff and certain wrecks happen, then well,
Once we get Marco Senior ready and when that's it, it's a
Yeah.
write off. No, I'm joking.
Or if you're starting
gonna kill me.
15 years ago, they don't even have 4 of the same kind of tires on your cart. That was
Yeah.
that was a
One of them's like a-
classic.
one of them- I remember that actually when I did Arrive and Drive back in 2019 at Mosport.
You could legitimately end up on a cart that has like a Dunlop, like a Michelin, a Mojo, and a Vega. Like there would literally be like 4 different types of tires.
And Goodwood ran Mojos on the youth carts. Chad, you remember American like 20?
Yes, I remember that. Yep. Oh man. I think they were actually faster back then too, if I remember. Yeah, Goodwood. We were running in the 36, or I was at least just barely getting into the 36s with the
Same here.
youth carts. So they
Well,
were
'cause,
they were pretty fast.
Goodwood used
so.
to have like kind of more proper carts, I'll call them, and then they upgraded to the bumper carts.
Yeah.
Hey, they should just use those red fire trucks. There.
Yeah, they should use those, man. Geez.
We won't get into that.
No, we won't get into that. So what else was I gonna say? So I guess we'll go back a bit as well to certain other tracks that we ran this year for even a Mika race. And of course the Canada Cup was at a different location this year as well in Hamilton. And then we also had the second fellows race at Innisfil. Which I got insanely sick on that weekend, and I'm glad that the speakers weren't as loud as certain other ones because my voice was completely dead by the time we got to the finals.
Knocked on the house, and they couldn't reach 10 feet.
I didn't even remember you were there commentating because I was nowhere near any speakers. Like
Yeah.
there was not a lot to hear at that track.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's so
Yeah, Innisfil was an interesting one for me. I'll say that. I don't know.
Same here.
If
I think we
yeah,
spent more time on 2 wheels than 4.
yeah, I definitely spent more time on 2 wheels. I mean, there were some nice photos of me on 2 wheels. I'll say that they were a little painful, but
and the
at least they look kind of cool.
You're
But
lucky.
yeah,
you're lucky. Oof.
I wasn't just 2-wheeling, it was on my rims after that whole incident in
Yeah.
practice.
yeah, you had
Oh,
a couple.
jeez.
I went for a
Oh,
little
yeah.
ride.
Yeah, that was quite big, man.
Hey, but
you had a
know what?
couple interesting crashes in turn 2 there throughout the
Yeah,
weekend.
2 of them, 2 crashes, one in practice, one in the race.
Mhm.
We won't talk about whose fault that was though, for obvious reasons.
Jeez, man. Man, I do want to try that track though. Beyond relief, I do want to try Innisfil. So, well,
Bring
okay,
a Walter with
I
you.
shouldn't say. Okay, fair point. I shouldn't say try it because I have ran that track before and I was actually pretty decent at it. So, but I never drove it really with like fellows level grip. We drove it the one year when Kart Stars was just starting out and there wasn't that many carts out at the time. So,
That would have been a different layout at that time as well.
yeah,
right?
it was a different layout.
Well, it was the same layout, but it didn't have the new piece.
Yeah, that's what it was.
The new piece is
Kinda-
bad. It
I
was, like,
didn't.
dusty.
The new piece was the only part that because I mean, Frank, I like the zero grip kind of like
Yeah.
feel. It
Kinda
kind of
fits you.
works, you know.
That's
with
why you're
my,
so good at the night races.
Yeah, but that was the only part of the track that I could like nail. The rest of it was just trying to keep the cart on 4 wheels. It was not a good time. And then we were chasing engine issues the whole weekend. We didn't even figure it out until like 2 weeks after that weekend. So
Remember your dad put the wrong front gear on for that final, and I think it was Saturday.
oh yeah,
You can see it on.
yeah.
It was Maddox's video. He's like Brennan's just sitting behind you, and all of a sudden he gains like 4 cart lengths. Like you guys.
Yeah, that was a good one. We'll say that. Yeah. I kind of forgot about that. Now I feel bad because I was making at one of the Hamilton club races, I was making fun of Jeremy a bit because his dad did that to him. But he was still actually competitive, even though he was 14th off. He was just the way that the track like works there. He was still because he just had so much straight line speed with it. But I was making fun of him a lot for that. So now I kind of like I feel a little bad.
What goes around comes around.
It happens to everybody at some point with the gear.
Yep, it totally does, man. I've had it before when it just after rain and you don't change the gear and you're just all over the limiter and you got no chance.
At that point, it's whoever has the lowest gear. Like,
Yeah,
even if it's-
pretty much. So
And yeah, like you said, Chad, like the Canada Day Cup was at a different track this year, right? It'll be at a different track the next couple of years as well.
think?
So,
Do you have insider information, or are you just predicting stuff?
oh no, it's like it'll be at Hamilton the next couple of years.
Oh,
All right. Oh, okay. I see what it means. All right. Well,
Yeah.
well,
You're
that'll
welcome.
still be good. Thank
Right
you.
here first.
Appreciate that information.
There is one
Um,
track I do miss though. Brecken. I actually like Brecken. Like in the
Yeah.
dry, it's
I don't
good.
understand the hate that it got.
Yeah.
It was the
Who
insurance.
who is no
insurance apparently.
who is hating on it though? Like
Really?
everyone I talked to is like that track. Like
Yeah,
who
everybody
is
liked it. It was just in the rain that
Love that.
Yeah. I
In
think it
the
was
rain,
only
they
because of
didn't
the
like it.
rain.
it was because of
Because
the
it
rain that
just
nobody liked
flooded.
it.
I
Flooded.
think it was some of the rock guys. They were just saying like, "Oh, it's bumpy." I'm like, "It's not bumpy."
Yeah.
then-
I mean,
Exactly.
there were like 20 rock guys there. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, well, the exit curves are placed in the wrong spot." I'm like, "Who cares?"
Yeah.
They were though.
I mean, no, I'm not gonna deny they were, but like, who cares? You know what I mean? Still a good track, I thought.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that track.
I
Yeah.
love
I liked it a lot more after I started copying Ari and Maddox.
Oh, you threw your chain. What do you mean you liked it more?
What's that? The last.
but it was still
The
more
last
fun.
corner curve.
Oh.
Even though I threw a chain doing it,
I'm
I
not
still
like-
like
I'm not like
it felt nicer driving it like that.
It was
Other-
faster, I think.
It is fast.
It was faster, 100%.
yeah.
I'm a genius.
Have fun doing that two-stroke. Knock your chain
Oh.
out.
Jeez.
Two-stroke. I'm afraid to hit the curb
Yeah.
in 6.
Oh, here's another lesson to not have anything go wrong with your car. Don't throw a chain in Point Peely. You will get all those flipping water bugs and stuff like that all over you, man. Oh, that was something else this year at Peely. Was all those bugs there? They were just everywhere. Like we looked outside in the hotel room when it was night and the lights were shining down. It was like snow coming down. It was that thick. There were so many of them. It was ridiculous.
Speaking of dropping chains, I think I hold a record for most times dropping a chain and getting it caught in the brake system. It's happened like 3 times now. I don't get it. It goes over the chain guard or the gear guard or whatever you want to call it, and it ends up in there, and then you got to cut it to get it out, and there's pieces of
Oh, jeez.
falling off, and the rotor's bent. Like, come on.
I think you have me beat. I think I've just had that once.
Yeah, I've had it 2 or 3.
So, what else, man? You guys got any more good stuff that went on this season? I might be drawing a blank on a few things, but
I mean, I do.
okay.
SH
Oh.
karting. The track
Yeah,
Quebec actually.
Koopman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Coupe to Montreal. By the way, actually, I actually really like the way they run that series. You know, like they're
Mhm.
just like they're really well organized when it comes to the series. Of course, you know, like everything's on time. They're strict on their rules, which is good. Like there is no flexibility in their rules. Of course, the first time they teched my engine, I wasn't too happy waiting in tech for 2 hours. But again, they've never
They
teched me, right?
they do some serious tech.
They
in
do
Quebec.
serious tech in Quebec. I mean,
I'm
at
gonna
the same
complain about
time, as well, like I was new there, so of course they want to make sure that, especially the new guys, they're finishing at the front. They want to make sure that they actually have a legal engine, so they will tear everything off and measure everything. But
Yeah.
then when I went to the second race, all they did was just check my carburetor. Like they didn't actually tear apart my engine again because they knew it was the same engine. So I think that's kind of how it goes over there, you know, like even if you're new, like they just want to make sure that you're doing everything within the rules and then they take it easy after, which is what ended up happening. Of course, at SH, there was the wrong call that was made. I mean, of course, the race director apologized, but just the way the rulebook is, way their rulebook works, you can't actually show a video from like, unless it's one of their cameras, you can't actually show your own personal video of what actually might have happened in that incident. Like in my case, I was ahead of the guy, we touched, and then he ended up spinning as a result. But in my case, I was ahead in the corner, and of course, the race director
Yeah.
had to apologize. But no, SH, that track was just ruthless for runoff because in most of the high speed corners, the runoff was either a barrier or a giant ditch with like a huge puddle or pond or something, right? And I mean, there was so many red flags that day because of those ditches. Like the kid went through a fence and ended up on somebody else's property. I mean, it was bad, right? But
I kind of it sounds like PSL's track in Three Rivers. It's
Yeah.
kind of it like there's I mean
Oh.
they have some tires set up, but it's definitely if we want to go by like let's say like Ron Fellows level safety standards, PSL's really not close to that. It's still like it's not like it's egregious or anything, but
yeah,
there's some areas that would certainly not be okay if someone went off in
Yeah.
in them.
with SH. I think, like, in my opinion, it almost looked better without barriers, like on the outside of the track in most places. Just let them go,
Yeah.
because the barriers ended up causing those crashes with people flying over them and actually getting airborne versus just going down to the grass and that was it, right?
That makes me think of like turn 4 and turn 6 at Goodwood. Like, how has no one flown right over that barrier yet?
I mean, Javier did at CKNA.
Not fully though. Like he did.
He was on top of the barrier.
Yeah, he was on top of the barrier, man, after he
That was
flipped.
nasty. I was
Yeah.
going through 6 when he was just kind of starting the cartwheel, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's
Especially when you think about like the number of people who've gone through the fence, like up at 9. Like it is kind of interesting, I guess, that no one's ever kind of gone 4 to 6 there.
Yeah. It's just the way it is. Also, like, there's a huge ditch as well, like going into 4. I mean, kind of prevents you in a way.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a rock, like if you're in a rock scene, you're going flat out into turn 4 and you decide that you're going to hit that ditch like a ski jump, then by all means you actually might go
Oh,
over.
jeez,
But
yeah. I've seen people go over that.
I did see a Raven driver get caught like right
Oh,
right in the middle, and
Oh.
he's just sitting there, the tires just.
poor guy's session was over probably.
I gotta get the good old marshals to come out. You know.
yeah, and remove it, unfortunately, because he was stuck on the barrier.
That takes 2 people, you know. So.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Those
3
things, once they
people.
get pushed back like that, you have to sort of be like a rowing team to like pull them back because it's
Yeah.
just stuck there. And it's like they're hard to move because they got water in them as well.
Oh yeah.
So you can't move them.
Yeah, like the first track race this year when the one guy 2-wheeled in 4 and nailed the wall,
Yeah.
spilled all the water on turn 6, and everybody and their brother.
Yeah, everybody ran through it and we almost all spun.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a bit of a. I just realized like this is gonna be the first time since like 2010. I think I haven't raced at Goodwood at all this year. That's kind of crazy to think about. Since I won't be there tomorrow.
Damn.
You're officially
Yeah.
What a shame. You know. I'm joking.
You're so kind, Ari. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Like maybe they'll like us kind of run the rain tires that aren't ONT stamped, but it's
They don't want to risk it.
it's a little late right now to try and give Dan a call, in my opinion. And yeah, I don't want to drive 2.5 hours or whatever, show up and then Dan's like, oh yeah, you gotta give us $300 for a new set of tires. Like I'm not gonna. I mean, I joked about it with Logan earlier today, but I'm not gonna show up and kind of just sit there twiddling my thumbs all day and then hit the track for the first time all year when it's maybe dry for the final.
Why not?
But the amount of rubber on the track, you could probably run.
There was quite a bit of rubber on the track.
Yeah, turn 5 was a bit questionable, but
Turn 5 never represents.
yeah.
Yeah, it takes forever to get it rubbered in. Meanwhile, turn 4 and 9 actually were almost instantly rubbered up. So
Turn 9, I was almost 2-wheeling.
yeah, turn 9 had quite a bit
Turn
of rubber
9
in it.
would have rubber on it through the ice age.
Yeah, it would. It would.
Okay.
Yep.
It's insanity, man.
Just the way the corner is, that's probably what it is.
I'll just have to wait for next year. I'll be back for cup carts.
Yeah.
What about Mika?
That's one thing I want to touch on. Are we all
What
running-
about Mika?
You doing any Mika?
If I'd be surprised if I do any race at Moseport next year. I'll say that. And right now, I think we're probably not going to be running Braun Fellows next year. We might do the coupe, so we might come give you and
Ride
like
in Montreal.
Valente. a
Well,
bit of fun.
exactly. That's what I'm also gonna do next year. I said to my dad, I'm like, I mean, Fellows, like the only track I'd do at Fellows really is Mosport. Everything else, I mean, I just haven't had the best experience at Innisfil as well as Hamilton. Like, I'm just not a fan of tracks that aren't smooth, if you know what I'm saying.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. Not that like I don't want to.
Well, hey, Hamilton repave 2023.
It's gonna be a
Throw
project.
a little like trademark sign at the end of that statement. Soon, TM.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing some of the coupe races too. Just you know what?
The tracks over there are so nice.
We've done the same. But the thing is though, like I started doing club in 2015, and like we've been doing the same thing every year. Just
Race the same people.
try something. Not even that, but just try something different. Go to a new place. And, my dad likes traveling too, so if you get to go to Quebec for a weekend, he's satisfied, even if there's no racing involved. So.
Yeah, even with like how long I've been racing. The only track on the coupe schedule I've run is Tremblant. Like
You're
the
an
rest,
SC.
the rest of them they'd all be new tracks. Yeah, SC.
SC
Well,
St.
we were
Celestine.
we were gonna run SC in 2020 before like COVID happened because I was like Casely was gonna do his special race at that time. That's all it was.
Oh yeah.
But he was gonna run that at SC in 2020, and then that whole thing kind of got canceled, unfortunately. I mean, I say unfortunately, but it did eventually turn into the CKNA stuff that happened this year. So that's I mean, it's looking nice. Hopefully next year there's a little more overlap, I'll say, because like this year not a lot of people from Ontario traveled out to like PSL, and then not a lot of people from out in Quebec came to Goodwood. Like the only people who really came were like guys who were in a championship fight. You know, like a guy like Potvin or Aubin Poirier, like they literally said to me like, well, I guess I have to go now because I'm kind of like I'm
Up there in the championship.
Yeah. Like they had no plans to actually go until they did well at PSL, and they were like, well, I guess.
Hey, what do we think about Lombardi being on the schedule next year?
That's gonna be interesting.
I guess
That's
more of a
gonna be
question for
interesting.
me and Chad specifically. But
Yeah, because we raced there this year, so
Which track is Lombardi?
it's out in
It's like the
near
Ottawa
Ottawa.
area.
Near Ottawa. Wait, is it the track that has like a really long turn one or whatever? Like, or is it's like a semi-long turn one
Yeah,
almost?
it's like turn 1 into turn 2, but it's just kind of like a tight but fast turn 1, and then a long, slow right hand turn
Okay,
2
yeah.
into turn 3.
Okay, yeah, I think I know what that is.
honestly, that'd be fun for a breeze race. I think.
It would.
For
Yeah,
Briggs,
I think it'll be a decent Briggs track.
It's gonna be a very much momentum based track. Like every corner is super fast except for the last turn. So like you come out of the last turn, you're full pin almost the whole way around.
Mhm.
But it's not like Peely where you're full pin the whole way around, but you're crawling at like quarter speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Lombardi's fast, and it was fun.
Yeah. The only thing that I'd say about it is like the CKNA schedule, like just the tracks that are on it now. Like you've got two really short tracks. Like I'm kind of wishing it was a 4-track event now, and they had something else in there that was a little longer. But like in Ontario, like you've only got Mosport. Everything else is like a 40-second track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that too.
Quebec has everything. Like all the tracks over there, like St. Celestine, Woman at Fours, like SH was 50 second laps almost, or something around there. But like gets the point across that like all the tracks over there are like 50 seconds plus.
Yeah. Like Parker and Indiana, like what were the lap times like there? They were pretty long laps, right?
14, yeah.
Yeah, like they were about a minute 5, I believe, or a minute.
Isn't that short?
No,
that's
it was a
short.
minute 12.
I thought it was like
No,
a
yeah,
minute 12,
minute-
13.
It
yeah.
was a minute 12. Yeah.
Yeah, minute
Prairie
12.
Pretty fast. 105.
And
Fine,
they,
damn.
I mean, they have like a lot of corners going on there as well. So I don't know. It's it's a little funny to like think that the Grands are kind of like, you know, they have this big ass track. It's like 20 corners, and then
Yeah.
we come up here in one of our races. It's at like a 5-corner track that no one's really raced at ever. Like no offense to Lombardi, but it's just like, you know, Chad, like you raced there once this year, and Logan,
Yep.
you raced there once this year, and then like Mike Delaplante races there. He's like the only one that's gonna have experience, and Alex as well, I guess, like Mike's teammate. But like it's not a track that's seen a lot of action.
No, and I think that's one of the reasons why they put it on the schedule, so they could give it the more recognition and get more people out there and stuff like that, which I still think it deserves. It's still a fun track, I will say.
The neutral playing ground, though, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, aside from Mike and, you know,
Yeah.
a couple of the TNT guys or whatever, like, you know, you got guys like, let's just say King races again, or, you know, we go down there, you know, whoever decides to show up, you know, you've never been there before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we need some new go-kart, like you know, we need a Pierre Gasly kart being made by Burrell or something, so that Kevin will hop in the kart again.
Yeah.
You drove the Cubits like her, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
So
But,
would that mean? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that Lombardi will kind of be like PSL was this year because I think the only people who would maybe run on that track at all was like me and Kevin King, and I raced it in mini max a decade ago. So
That's a while.
yeah, like it's been a while since that track was on like any schedules. So it was nice to go back there. It was a lot better than I remembered. So I guess Lombardi kind of fills that kind of neutral ground. So that'll be interesting to see. It'll be more just kind of skill based than kind of you know, you've got people like not to throw like people under the bus, but I feel like the track that kind of has it the most is like TKC. There's some drivers that are incredibly fast at TKC and then they're nowhere at any other track. So I don't like Lombardi won't really have that. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's make it even more interesting.
For sure. Yeah, just quick thing though. If they add Lombardi, then would they remove any other tracks from the Runfellow schedule then? Because it's almost like a tradition for Mosport be on the Runfellow schedule for 2 rounds, right? It's like a common thing, right? So
They only really put Mosport as the last round because they kind of
Because they didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It
true.
originally was Brecken, but not anymore. So
yeah, that sucks.
But I mean, yeah, I was just talking about that with Logan like recently. There's not a lot more tracks in Ontario to be added. Like there's TKC, but then everything else is kind of like,
What about Goodwood?
okay, I was getting to that. Like
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
gonna say like we all kind of know that there's it's a bit split right now in
Yeah, there's a
Ontario,
split.
and there doesn't exactly seem like there's gonna be any resolution of that soon. So every track is kind of like you're on one side or you're on the other. There's no
yeah,
real.
which is unfortunate.
There's nothing in
all
between.
all the tracks that join, one series, they're like completely against the other one. It's not
Yeah.
just in Mosport. It's when you've got a track like Peely, let's say, on the Kart Star schedule. God forbid they join the fellow schedule. That's the unfortunate part.
Yeah.
But
I
like
wish they kind of just put their stuff aside. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Just put your stuff aside. Like we want to race. Like
yeah,
serious.
it hurts. Yeah, it hurts the drivers, and we get kind of like obviously the fields aren't shit. Like I don't want to say that the fields are shit, but like there's a lot less people driving than there could be. Like half, you get like 60-70% maybe at best of the kind of like people that are in that like could win a race realm. Just because of like politics, and it's silly.
Yeah.
Splits the drivers. Yeah.
So
The thing that's just confusing is just like, most of the people involved in this are former drivers too. So
yeah.
you would think they would maybe see the side of the driver a bit more, not just the side, but I guess
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like we don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
Yeah, I know. We don't. So we're just the drivers that will.
You hear one thing from one side, one from the other. You hear someone who's kind of in the middle, they say something else, and it's
Yeah.
it's
That's kind of what happened to me before the season started, because I was saying a couple things about the Goodwood and the Mika schedules that they were.
Yes.
I mean, they were, it's disappointing because it was, this is the 3rd year of it happening. So it's to see like Mika throw a bunch of races on Kart Stars stuff, and like a double header on the big Kart Stars race in Shannonville, putting races on the CKNA stuff as well because they decided to go to Goodwood.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of things, you have the track schedule. They put races on all the fellows stuff, like on the Canadian Championships. Like it's all very intentional. So I made a couple comments about that, and I had some people trying to tell me their sides of it, and not all of it necessarily lines up. And like both sides kind of like they want to play like they're being the good guy, and
Yeah.
they're both kind of they're both not being great. Like one side has good ideas, the other side has good ideas. One side has bad ideas, other side has bad ideas, and they kind of just come together, and they're both like, just I don't like you, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
So
I don't know. I fully expect it to be year 4 of this same thing next year, which just sucks.
It's really
That's-
unfortunate because you look at like the 2 series now, and it's like,
pardon me.
one has a handful of tracks. Like, imagine if they were, it'd be similar to the coupe races where you could have a series with like 6 tracks on it.
Mhm.
That'd be fun. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and there's fun tracks in Ontario, and most people just aren't going to experience it because of whatever series they're running. Like I know that this is gonna be insane, but like just for Briggs racing specifically, I really like Flamborough. I think it would be nice to have a proper big race there. Like
Yeah.
I know Kart Stars went there this year, and we were thinking about doing it, but like just I mean the way Flamborough is, you can't run new tires there, and it's like again it was the whole ONT tire situation. Like
Yeah.
we weren't like not only did we not want to get a new set of tires to run the event, we knew new tires aren't optimal on that track, and it's I mean it's unfortunate because we wanted to run there, but also the numbers just didn't turn out great, which yeah, it sucks because like running a big Briggs race there would I think be incredible because it's a really nice track to actually
Yeah.
race at.
I
Now
agree.
that being said, I mean, what if an individual started their own series basically and put all the tracks in there? Mosport, Goodwood, Flamborough, because that's another option as well, right? If you can't have somebody big, like one of the politics, you could say, start up a series with both tracks, and why not just somebody a bit smaller that ends up starting as just a series just like that, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Chad Webster Racing Series or Chad Webster Racing Challenge.
I mean,
That would never get agreed to.
No,
because
that would not.
I
that
know.
was like that is something that's honestly crossed my mind before. It's just like getting a bunch of drivers together and kind of agreeing on like we'll all show up at like this specific club race or whatever, like as just kind of like a sort of championship amongst a group of people just showing up to club races throughout the year. Because I mean, all these tracks for the most part, they run club races, so it is something that could be done. But like actually organizing a big group of everyone is kind of a pain, and like it's also it wouldn't like I mean it would be fine for Briggs Senior, we're all in Briggs Senior, but
Yeah.
like it would be a little weird, I guess, to just kind of run something for just one class.
That's part of the reason why I actually like CKA at Goodwood is because everybody kind of I shouldn't say everybody, we're missing a few people, but like a lot of the Briggs senior community, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
COVID.
was being a big pain in the ass to a bunch of people to try and get them to go to that race, and then I got COVID.
Yeah, and then you had to pull out of it.
I mean, it worked out in the end, right? Because there's a lot of people who were just gonna run, maybe they'll set the weekend off or they'll run.
Yeah.
We all came to Goodwood, and obviously there were some issues in Saturday final with all the wrecks and stuff. But yeah, it was still a really enjoyable event, and it was just fun to have all these good drivers in one spot, which we haven't gotten since
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you like, I mean, you had so many people there and so many people who could be competitive there, and most of the people from Quebec weren't there. Like I wasn't there, obviously. And then there's a few select group of people that aren't allowed to go to that track, which well, like I don't want to go into that too much, but like that's a pretty fucking stupid thing that like people like drivers can't go to a track because of this politics situation. Like that kind of sucks. So there's
Yeah.
like there's 4 or 5 people in like Ontario, and like let's say another like 8 to 10 people in Quebec who could all be like kind of up like race winning contention. Like
Yeah.
so if that's something, maybe it won't happen next year because of the politics thing still going on, but like maybe 2 years
Yeah.
like down the line, 2024, like that could be something that's we're almost at, which would be nice to see because it's been a while since we've kind of had an event like that, like 2018, 2019, or like even back when it was like the champion Ron Fellows karting, whatever. Yeah, pulling that out of the bag.
the thing that sucks is like, so for someone like me, or even like Chad, let's say, the clock is ticking for how much longer we have.
Yeah, exactly.
Racing these races, and nothing's.
Well, I mean, you guys are all still young. Like I'm like I'm gonna be in like masters before you guys are even my age that I am right now. So
But yeah, like what I mean. Most people do get out of it at a certain age, and I don't know how much longer I have. And, that's why I want to do Grand Nationals next year.
Yeah.
Thinking about doing the Charlotte CKNA race, and I think it's March. Do some coupe races. Just be different because you don't know
how much longer.
Yeah.
In 2024, I might not be here. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I was thinking the same thing with next year possibly being my last year because I still want to go down the route of my commentary job and stuff. So
Chad, you said it was your last year for like the last
I know
4
I've said it too many
years.
times. I've said it too many times. So
I mean, he does have a point though. I mean, like if you're in karting for too long, then I mean, if it doesn't work out, right, then
Yeah.
you just kind of got to learn to just give
Let
it
it
up
go.
almost, let it go and just move on to something else. Like in my case, I'm still fairly, I mean, I'm 16, turning 17 this year, but I'm still able, like I still somewhat have a chance of getting into something, right?
yeah.
Because it's just like the opportunities, right? It has to be more, it's more luck than anything. I found like getting into cars and stuff or trying to get into stuff, like it's money and luck. Those are the two big things that get you into car racing.
It is.
A bit of hard work and dedication as well. I mean, looking for those people to get you in there.
Yeah,
but
like you have to get your name out there and stuff.
you have to get your name out there,
Yeah.
but in the end, it comes down to just basically your name being picked out of a hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like I'm kind of more in the Treadwell vein, I guess, of just kind of eternally being here. But I guess it is kind of the age-ish where people kind of will start like disappearing a little bit, like your Kyle Edgars or like some guys will go off the cars like Gavin Sanders, Marco Signoretti.
Zach
But then-
Vanier.
Yeah. But yeah, others just kind of like they reach that point where it's kind of too many things go on, I'd say, and then they kind of get tired of it. Because I mean, I think a guy like Kyle Edgar, he was at a race like earlier this year. He obviously he still enjoys racing, obviously, and like he doesn't hate the sport or anything. I think some things just kind of pile up, and maybe the money is also an aspect, but also some people just get a little tired of dealing with some of the stuff that's happening that doesn't really need to be happening at this level.
So
Man,
agreed.
there was one other crap. I'm gonna have to look up someone's name.
Okay.
You guys can keep talking while I look it up.
All right. So
But yeah, just in conclusion, I don't know what I'm doing next year.
yeah, it's
I know I'm
right
running
by the
bricks.
wayside.
So I'm-
Yeah, I know. So am I. I'm gonna try to do some of the bigger races next season, and hopefully it'll turn out good. So
What about you, Parker?
Hmm.
Haven't heard you in a while.
yeah.
You're
What are
recently
you
there.
thinking for next year?
Oh well, next year I'm running both Briggs and Rock next year. Hopefully,
Oh,
try my way out in Rock. As I did a test earlier this year, and then I ran that shifter.
Yeah,
in the last
I
race.
saw that on Race Monitor.
You're a
That's
beauty.
true. On the 80cc O2 card, that's older than me.
It's older than me by 3
Oh
years.
my god, yeah, that thing was insane.
Managed to beat
Uh,
Bob.
Yeah,
so Rock Senior, obviously, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and just try my way out in Rock. See,
Yeah.
because it's a different driving style kind of in Rock from Rock and Briggs. So want to get
Hey,
that
Logan,
experience.
pro driver to pro driver here. Like, what's with all our teammates kind of, going to Rock? Like, what the heck?
Dude,
Yeah.
it was not even 2 years ago that we were in Tremblant. We had a stacked lineup. It was me, Gianluca, Avery, Owen Thomas. He was fast that weekend. That was a good lineup we had there. And now it's just like, me and Alex, and then Parker's there, and then we'll have a couple other guys, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
Yeah, same
At
thing
least
with
Parker's
REM.
At least Parker's sticking with bricks.
I'm doing both. You still
Yeah.
got me for next year.
Just keep in mind that's gonna be a task, man. Doing
Yeah.
both of them and stuff, it'll take a wear on your body.
Yeah, I think our plan right now is
I mean,
do like
Ari did it with a broken like finger. So
Broken hand, actually, it's a big flex there.
okay, Chad said finger earlier.
I
Sorry.
thought it was finger when
That
you
and
said
the
it was
rock you were normally.
That was 3 months before I broke my hand, broke
Oh,
my
okay.
finger.
Oh, jeez.
yeah, I think our big plan is do all the races, like all the tracks and Briggs, but maybe only do the Mosport races for Rock until I get the hang of it. Like, don't do the full season of Rock possibly, because they dropped the 3 races, so the 3 races that will be dropping will be the array races. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that works
should be,
out.
yeah,
Well, assuming that they actually go to 3 different tracks next year,
Yeah,
Which
we'll
is-
see.
yeah.
didn't happen this
I don't know
year.
about
No.
Anyway, Chad, I gotta head out actually. I'm gonna go eat and then get to bed.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is
Got
getting
it.
pretty late, and some of us do have a few races to, or a few races. Well, actually, in the thing of it, yeah, a few sessions to do tomorrow. And you know what else we got to do. So this
That
one's gone
time-
on for a good hour and a half, boys. So
Time passed a little quickly there.
Your
Awesome.
yeah,
record,
it did.
longest
We
podcast.
hit that's a new record for this podcast. All right, way
go.
longer.
That covered the most topics ever. How many times did we go somewhere else? Just completely.
We went all around Canada almost.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
know.
Almost made it. We almost went outside of karting.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nationals out west next year, boys. Am I right?
It's a possibility. You never know.
Off to BC.
I hope so.
It's true too.
It'd be another event for me to run. You know.
before it all ends.
No, I'm all about doing new stuff next year. That'd be another one. So that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, boys. Well, in that case, I think we'll leave it there. We covered quite a bit today. So, anyway, all right, guys. So again, everybody, thank you for watching the Racing Topic podcast. Parker, Logan, Ari, Alex, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for wearing the shirt, Ari. I appreciate it, buddy. So,
Quick, do some pro advertising, Parker.
Do it quickly.
yay.
Sponsored by
Racing
CL and
Ontario
Pro.
CL.
Yes.
So again, everyone have a good night. And as always, y'all take it easy. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks, everybody.